What is going on, Crisis Actors? It is episode 1001 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I hope you guys all enjoyed episode 1000 yesterday. I am here with my co-host once again. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. I feel the pressure is on now. That's this episode needs to be a worthy follow-up to episode 1000. So hopefully it will be. The vibes are perfect. The weather is suitably depressing for the beginning of Lent, aka Mark Wahlberg's 40-day challenge. I'm already having less fun, so it's going well. And,
I mean, that's the point. Is that kind of the point?
Yeah, that is kind of the point. Also, you can check the ashes. Again, like most years, it could have been worse, could have been better. Definitely could have been better. They only give you the best ashes if they know you're a big Catholic celebrity like Mark Wahlberg. And he probably like warns the priest beforehand, like, "Hey, Father, just so you know, I'm going on Good Morning America after this. Just make sure that the ashes look extra crisp and perfect." And they just have an understanding.
They're drawing it on with like a paintbrush.
He probably doesn't actually say that, but like they must know. Like, obviously the priest knows that Mark Wahlberg is there, and like he's probably going to be on camera that day, so it matters. He gets the best ashes of everybody else.
Everybody else gets the dregs.
It's not fair. Well, I guess it's fair because he earned the right to be Mark Wahlberg.
Speaking of Ash Wednesday, we do have a couple of 20s there.
We do. Oh, yes. An American one and an Australian one.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Ash Wednesday, Brett and Mary. Tempus fugit memento mori. I will say this, at least my priest trimmed his nails this year and didn't scratch my forehead. LOL. Oh, Mary singing Iris is out. You're welcome, Corey." I knew that would happen.
I have a question. What do those two phrases mean?
Tempus fugit, I am not sure. Memento mori is remember your death.
So the reason I bring this up is because I am not religious. I do know both of those phrases because both of them are X-Files episodes. Both of
them separately?
Yes.
Tempus fugit means basically time flies.
So not only are they both X-Files episodes, they were both directed by Rob Bowman, and both of them have John Sheban on the writing team. So you learn something new every day, ladies and gentlemen.
Catholic lore in the X-Files. We have another from Katie. "Hi, Brett and Mary. Happy Ash Wednesday. Today in my left-wing city, there was a Chinese New Year celebration. I hate globalism, but I got a new rosary in church." Well, that's fun. I did see last night Ivanka Trump posted this very ominous tweet about the Chinese Lunar New Year, and I didn't really even pay attention to what it said, but the photo of her, it just looks like she's becoming Chinese, like very, very slowly. And people were like, this is what women tweet like right before going off the deep end.
Wait, so like it's the year of the horse, right? That's what they were saying.
Is it?
It's the year of the horse. So I
thought it was the year of the rat.
Okay.
But that sounds ugly.
The only reason I bring it up is because I saw like several articles, from all the journalists that were like, Tom Felton, actor who portrayed Draco Malfoy, becomes unlikely mascot for Chinese New Year, and I'm like, I don't have the time to. I'm like, I don't have the time to look into this, but
it is in fact the year of the horse.
Okay.
Whatever that means.
All right. Well,
ask Ivanka. She knows all about it.
You learn something new every day, guys. Hit the like button on this episode, please. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Please and thank you. We are getting very close to 400,000 subscribers. It feels weird, kind of like when, you have a birthday that's dangerously close to Christmas. Do we do like another special episode when we hit 400,000 followers? It seems suitably important to celebrate that milestone on top of managing to do 1,000 of these without all of you revolting and coming at us with pitchforks. So possibly we do a 400,000K celebration.
Depends on when it happens.
Yeah,
though you're confident that it will be by Monday.
When I look at the rate in which the channel is growing sub-wise, it does look like that. Maybe I end up being wrong about that, but we'll have to wait and see.
Cross our fingers.
So we
Not
gotta
be overconfident.
Yes, you don't want to. Well, that's the thing. But you know me, I'm the doomerist. I'm like, we'll probably get it by 2027.
Yeah,
That's me.
But the channel has been growing pretty fast, so.
So guys, don't just hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, like I said, and share it out with everybody. What are we getting into today? There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Robert Pattinson and Zendaya have this new it's the worst type of Hollywood dreck where they interview each other, and it just made me want to vomit. But it comes together with all of these pictures where they put Robert Pattinson in a lace camisole or something like that. That's the word you use, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's calling it a Hollywood humiliation ritual. I stand by my point that actors are weird and they love this shit. So we're going to get into all of that. We're also going to talk about Tyra Banks. She is getting a ton of backlash because a new documentary has been made about her original reality show. One of the pioneers of the cruel reality show, America's Next Top Model.
The best kind.
Yeah. So, and also we have learned that sometimes when women do satire, it doesn't always land. So we're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about a new clothing brand called Reformation, which wants to help you celebrate your divorce, ladies. That's what they want to do. And we have a big super chat here, a $500 super chat from Trudy Jones. Wow.
Holy, I don't see it yet.
Okay, thank you so much, Trudy Jones. He says, here are for the rest of the parties for episode 1000. YouTube wouldn't let me send yesterday. Congrats again. Yeah, they stop you, I believe, $500.
So weird.
No, it's always been that way. I believe 500 is the max you can send in a day, which is a good problem to have if you're us. But, thank you so much.
That's not true on Rumble. On Rumble, they let you donate any amount you want.
You could just sign over the deed to your house on Rumble if you want.
Basically. At least, as far as I've seen, there is a higher maximum on Rumble.
Yeah.
If that's what you're looking to do.
Trudy,
not saying you have to.
Trudy Jones always comes out for the milestone episode.
Thank you very much,
That
Trudy
was
Jones.
amazing. Thank you so much. So not only all of that, guys, and trust me, all of these crisis parties will happen. Do not worry about that. On top of that, guys, we're going to talk about this extremely snarky article, which decided to cover a MAGA singles mixer, which is apparently a thing. So we're going to get into it because this article takes a bunch of pot shots in a way that only a liberal Hollywood writer. There it is.
Thank you. Okay, so we're already at 5. Are we going to set these off before we start? We're just going to roll with it.
We'll get through all of them before the show is over. The reason I say that is every time I set off the crisis party on my own, that's when it starts messing with the it's probably already going to do that. So let's wait and see if the light changes here or if it restarts, because nope, we're good. So we will set them off throughout the show. But thank you, Trudy Jones. Let's get into it. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Let's go for it.
Yes. So Zendaya and Robert Pattinson are on the promo tour together for several projects. They're going to be reunited for The Odyssey. They're also going to be on the next Dune movie together, and they're co-starring in a new A24 film called The Drama. And it's supposed to center around this happily engaged couple whose relationship is tested in the days before their wedding. It explores how their bond unravels after a shocking confession during a game with friends, revealing unsettling truths about Zendaya's character Emma's past.
Before we start, can I ask you a question? You might remember this. Remember when we talked about the really bad overacting scene with Jennifer Lawrence about, it wasn't marriage, whatever that Marriage Story or whatever it was some other one we covered recently.
One that she just did with Robert Pattinson.
Was that with him? That was with him?
Yes.
Okay, so he's got a type for movies he wants to make now.
What was that
I don't even remember the name of the movie.
It was just it just kind of blended into the background. Die My Love. That was last year.
Marriage Story was what? That was Scarlett Johansson
and Adam Driver.
Adam Driver? Yeah, okay.
A similar genre of movie about, some marriage or engagement unraveling under intense pressure.
Just sounds
But
horrible.
anyway,
continue.
They decided to promote this project together in a new joint interview in Interview magazine. And basically, This is a print version of Variety Actors on Actors, where they just kind of blow smoke up each other's ass the entire time, and they interview each other instead of having a third party there. And for the photo shoot, they decided to dress up as like haunted dolls slash baby prostitutes. That includes cross-dressing photos of Robert Pattinson wearing this lace trim camisole and lipstick and a blonde wig. And everyone on right-wing Twitter especially is reacting to this, saying that it is a humiliation ritual of some kind. And that, according to Verbal Riot, you either kiss the ring or you don't work in Hollywood. And you have to give up your dignity and engage in these eyes wide shut style satanic rituals in order to gain fame and success.
That one is always the one that comes back to Cat Williams talking about putting black men in dresses, which is something that has been noticeably prevalent in Hollywood for a long time. My point to the contrary with a lot of actors is actors are fucking weird. They're weird.
Yeah.
They love this shit. I don't buy for a second that every one of these is some case of this normally super masculine dude who gets buck broken and told to get in a dress. I think they're art nerds, and some art director was explaining the vision they had for this. They got really excited. He's like, yeah, and I'll like smear the makeup on my face. Like I fully believe that he loves every second of it. I don't buy for a minute that he doesn't.
No, not everything is a humiliation ritual or a conspiracy. Sometimes people just do things that are humiliating because they're weirdo art nerds.
Yeah, that's all it is.
That describes most people in Hollywood.
Look, Mary, what two people do in the privacy of a photographer's studio is their own business.
And one Stan account responded to this saying, the concept of Robert Pattinson being a doll, implying that this is his exploration of his gender identity or something. They're also saying that this is disrespectful to Zendaya's fiance, Tom Holland, because she's hanging all over Robert Pattinson. People are saying similar things about Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. I mean, just like the rest of their lives, their marriages, their relationships are also super weird and not relatable in any way to normal people. So I would just say, like, this is weirdo art nerds being weirdo art nerds. You know, it's not really a top-down conspiracy most of the time.
Do you think that there's like, okay, so there's a lot of people who do believe that it's some conspiracy, and they like I said earlier, Cat Williams is the example that they usually give to, but he's usually relating that specifically to black actors, and you can point to a lot of examples of that happening. But I guess just for me, when I see most of this stuff, I just see collaborative people who get really excited about stuff that me and you just don't. And I actually think that oftentimes, like, I don't understand it, and I wish I did, because I don't have that type of mind. My brain doesn't work that way. It's not creative in the same way that these people's are, because oftentimes to make a good movie, you have to have a brain that will exit convention and go someplace new. Unfortunately, oftentimes when it comes to these types of promotional lines, it's got less to do with telling a story and more to do with spectacle, at least what you'd call this as a form of spectacle. So it's almost like we could take it back to the discussion about conservative art. Not conservative art like Tolkien, but like conservative art these days, which tends to be more focused on critique of art rather than creating it themselves. And one of the reasons why the left will always be dominant at art is because, yes, they will sometimes get it right and make the blockbuster movies that I like, or they'll make the type of movies that you like. I don't know what movies she liked. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated movie. There, we'll go with that. But most of the time, it falls flat, and the reason that it falls flat is that they're willing to explore ideas and concepts that most people just aren't. And unfortunately, it seems a prerequisite if you want to do that in Hollywood these days. You need to be willing to go to weird places if you want to go to new places.
Well, I understand what you're trying to say, but at the same time, This cover and this entire photo shoot is something that we have seen
Yes.
like countless times. It's not actually original to cross-dress or dress up like a haunted porcelain doll.
Yeah.
You know, like we've seen so many people do this already that it's actually not that creative or original. But it's getting praised as such.
I think you
for some
get
reason.
also when you're in the process of doing it, it's not about it being original. It's about the act of creation in itself for them in the moment, which is like it feels new to them while they're doing it. Therefore, that's really the only thing that matters. Like how much new ground is actually broken every day in artistic senses, right? Like if all you're if the only reason you create is to break completely new ground all the time, you're not going to succeed in the commercial space because the commercial space doesn't want that kind of art.
Kongmin Lee responded to this saying, Hollywood has just become one large humiliation ritual for men. And he's referring to both Robert Pattinson getting humiliated by having to cross-dress, but also Tom Holland being humiliated because his fiance is hanging all over this other guy for her job.
Tom Holland has also done this. Remember, he did the live performance.
He said they have to go through demonic rituals or else they'll be sidelined. And I know that that's open to many different interpretations, but I genuinely don't think that this photo shoot was something that they were like forced or coerced into doing against their will with a, you know, sign on the dotted line, sell your soul away to Satan.
And then the devil disappeared like with a puff of smoke after
I
they
agree
signed.
with you that they really enjoy feeling like they are subverting expectations and you know, exploring their uninhibited like sides of themselves that they are like ashamed of, so that they can truly unleash their creative, you know, whatever the fuck. Like they love talking about this stuff. They love doing this stuff. It's just who they are as creatives. Like that's the type of person that gravitates toward this industry.
They're always trying to find the truth of the character, right? Which is the thing that's frustrating about that is they could make movies, because one of the things we complain about a lot is that they have a great disdain for flyover country. They have when they create characters that come from the Midwest, oftentimes they feel caricaturish, which is why I think people like Twisters so much, is it didn't feel like it turned everybody into a caricature. But Ma and Pa Kent in Superman 2025, absolutely buffoonish type like caricatures of what you imagine a farm, you know, a husband and wife farmer in Kansas would be like. Way over the top, not nearly as accurate as you would imagine in Smallville, a television show. But if the artists are unbiased and just want to find the truth of the character, a good writer could actually write scripts about Middle America that they could bring to life. Because the actor, in an unbiased sense, will want to find the truth of what that is, but it requires a writer to do it properly, and they're just not willing to most of the time. Or if it does exist, it just doesn't get greenlit.
I just sent you a link to a different photo shoot that Robert Pattinson did in the last handful of years. I think it was probably during his promotional tour for Mickey 17.
Bro looks
he
like
was on the cover of GQ, and they did this like throwback that's like very like late 90s, early 2000s.
Early 2000s, yeah.
For
like,
sure, yeah, with the hair.
He's listening to The Offspring.
This is way better, in my opinion.
Yes.
I think this is the vibe they should have gone for, but I'm biased.
Here's the thing. He was probably just as excited to do this as he was to do the other one. And people that aren't artistic in nature just don't get it.
Yeah, that is true. Although I don't think that there's anything all that cerebral or original about the photo shoot they just did an interview. And also the content of this interview is just mind-numbingly boring.
Oh, it's so bad.
I just read through like the first couple of pages, and it's so performative because they're pretending like they're just the best friends in the world and they're so close, but it's like more boring than like small talk that we have.
Yeah.
Like it says that during the call, Rob was on vacation and wired on caffeine. Oh, he's so quirky.
She's like, you
and
earned
Zendaya Zendaya, see if any of you can believe this. Zendaya was taking a break from scrubbing her grout.
Yes, she was cleaning her bathroom.
Does anyone really believe that Zendaya cleans her own house?
I mean, maybe. Who knows?
Seriously? I don't know. I find it hard to buy that narrative. And I saw a different quote from Robert Pattinson yesterday. It was in an individual interview where he said that, you know, I tried therapy once, but they thought I was on drugs. And like it didn't work for me because they thought I was so crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
Like anything I was saying.
Even the therapist couldn't handle me.
I'm so crazy and unhinged. I'm such a crackhead. You can't take me anywhere. Like, I cannot take these people serious.
I would rather that they were like, he was hopped up on Adderall. That he like, like, just lean into it if you ask me.
Also, not that this is related in any way, but I do wonder if Zendaya noticed that Robert Pattinson smells like crayons.
She'll
this
have
is something
to ask.
He's been very open about over the years, is that he has a distinct smell that's a lot like a box of Crayola crayons. So she'll have to open up about that as well at some point.
All right, you're gonna have to help me on this one because this is not a show that I've ever seen in my entire life. What is the big deal about Hannah Montana's 20th anniversary?
So we're in a new chapter of Mary's childhood being ruined because Miley Cyrus is once again taking on the role of Hannah Montana that she played on the Disney Channel all those years ago. It's now come up on the 20th anniversary, and they're going to broadcast a special on Disney Plus to celebrate 20 years of Hannah Montana. And she's going to be wearing the wig again, supposedly. Taking it out of the vault, and they posted this promo teaser for it where it's literally just nondescript. She's just stepping out of a car.
Might not even be her.
And yeah, for all we know, it's not even Miley.
That's second unit photography right there.
You get the limo out front, etc. And she gave this comment: Hannah Montana will always be a part of who I am. What started as a TV show became a shared experience that shaped my life and the lives of so many fans, and I'll always be thankful for that connection. The fact that it still means so much to people all these years later is something I'm very proud of. This Hanniversary is my way of celebrating and thanking the fans who have stood by me for 20 years.
Well, if they didn't call it a Hanniversary, their marketing department would have failed. So
Yeah,
that's a fair point.
I guess this is bucking the trend where, you know, normally former child stars are desperate to distance themselves from the characters they once played on children's TV. But in this case, she is adopting it once again and embracing it, and she's very proud of it and its legacy. However, the problem here is even, you know, the people who are the target demographic for something like this, who are in my generation, are confused as hell about the execution of this idea, because what we thought we were going to get is just basically a concert. Like we would actually like to see her perform the old songs in the costume with the wig and just like keep it simple, just a musical performance. But instead of that, what's going to happen is a glorified interview with Alex Cooper, the host of Call Her Daddy.
Yep.
That's essentially what it's going to be. It says it will include an interview with Miley Cyrus hosted by Alex Cooper, where they revisit iconic moments from the show and never before seen footage. So I guess this is like a special look behind the scenes. This is literally just a Call Her Daddy interview that's premiering on Disney Plus instead of YouTube.
It's the power of marketing.
Like, why was that necessary? Why did we need to include Alex Cooper's name? Why should her name be even mentioned in the same sentence as Hannah Montana? I don't understand the angle here.
Because marketing is all about whatever the dominant source of media is at this time. And for her generation and for her demographic, that's Alex Cooper.
I suppose it's true. Like the Zoomettes are watching Call Her Daddy after they were originally fans of Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
That's the pipeline.
I don't even know who it would have been 5 years ago. Who was the dominant source for women's, like, for this type of media 5 years ago?
She's just the most obnoxious interviewer. Like, regardless of whether you object to her values or the ideas or messages that she spreads to her audience, people generally are experiencing call her daddy fatigue, including myself. I also wanted to show, I just sent you the link to this. This is a tweet from 2019, from March 2019, where Miley was wearing the Hannah Montana wig and just started like maybe in the middle here.
Okay.
The best of both worlds, like when you take an upper and a downer at the same time.
Oh, that seems like a horrible branding idea for your kid show, to talk about how you're splitting the difference between the uppers and the downers while you're wearing the wig from your very popular television show aimed at children.
And then she goes in.
Like, if you take a little Molly and smoke a joint.
Okay.
Yeah, so like this is how Miley Cyrus used to talk about the legacy of Hannah Montana, and now she is kind of making amends for sullying the legacy of this character that was for children. And the only credit that I can give to her is that they refused to sell the Hannah Montana wig to Kim Kardashian.
That's a good idea.
Yep. She said, if anyone wants to ever use that wig, it's Miley Cyrus, and it won't be handed over to anyone else, especially someone known for ruining vintage items.
We got a $20 super chat here from Weary Traveler. It says, "You look dashing today, Brett." Hi, Mary.
Wow.
Well, that was nice to, I deserve a compliment every now and then.
Overall, I just think that this is kind of creepy, and it was hard for me to articulate why, but I think what it is that this is just an exercise in arrested development for everyone involved and everyone watching.
Predominantly Gen Z, or is this millennials?
I mean, I think that the fans of Hannah Montana are mostly like older Gen Z. Okay. Yeah. It's just like showing that we simply cannot move forward from our childhoods. Like, we cannot grow up. Mm-hmm. It feels creepy to, bring this back, especially when we're like mixing it with this like sex podcaster.
So who do you think's who's responsible for this? So I can think of this in two camps. On one hand, you could blame the millennials for having arrested development and finding comfort in these characters. But I would say it's actually more you lay it at the feet of the fact that everything that both millennials and Gen Z loved was created by corporations. Therefore, they're not going to let these things sit dormant. They're going to keep, capitalizing on them, as it were. And so your nostalgia and your desire for a simpler time in life is a monetizable asset that a company can use, and it's silly to think that they won't. It's a fool's errand to think that a company won't do that. That's just the way the world works. Right. I'll give you an example of the funnier version of this right now. I never watched Scrubs. Did you ever watch Scrubs?
No.
Well, there's a Scrubs revival going on right now. I guess they're bringing it back, and they're calling it millennial cringe because they're saying like medical dramas have changed, medicine has changed, Scrubs is the same. So they're basically saying like they brought the show back, and again, I can't vouch for whether this is accurate or not, but they're basically saying like they brought it back, and it's like frozen in time. It's like the same show now as it was when it went off the air. I kind of love that idea. Like, I love the idea of any show that I loved being brought back and literally nothing is different. Like I said, when they were going to make it's kind of been dead in the water for a while. It's like when they make a white collar reboot, I want every character to carry a BlackBerry, and I don't want them to explain it one bit. I don't want them to change anything else about the show, but I want that one callback to to one of those visual assets that made the show popular. So for the millennial version of this, it's like they tried to bring it back just as it was, and at least according to reviews, it's failing. I don't know how the audiences are taking it. But for Hannah Montana, because it was for kids and not young adults, there is no way to do this without it being Arrested Development. Any attempt to bring it into current year is going to be extremely dour or depressing.
Yeah, and aside from it being a cynical attempt at nostalgia baiting people, it also creeps me out that, you know, these former child stars, especially the Disney stars, never really escape the clutches of this company. Like, she has no official ties anymore to Disney, but somehow still feels that she owes Disney something. And like, that's fair. Like, that's how you got your start. But also, like, she has made a name for herself after Disney, and her reputation is now mostly separate from this TV show. And it feels like Disney gets to profit off of both ends, where, you know, they make money off of you at the start when you're a child star, and then you go through your bad phase, and they ignore that, and they ignore any culpability that they have in driving you off the deep end. Then later on, you come back and make them more money on the back end by doing a reunion or like an anniversary broadcast or whatever. For Demi Lovato, it was the Hulu documentary that she did about, you know, what it's like to be a child star, which, by the way, is also a profit-making venture for Disney. So, you know, Disney like gets to ruin your life and make money in the process, and then also make money off of you telling the story to the world of how they ruined your life. Like, something about that just feels really gross to me.
I really do think it ties more to the fact that everything that we've been born into that we loved is part of some type of corporate structure, and that you can't let the property sit on the shelf because it'll be looked at as an asset you're not monetizing. Now, usually, like, you look back at the old, I've been watching a lot of these like Matt Draper documentaries on like the history of different film companies, and I was listening to this one about the Disney Renaissance and past generations of Disney, and he would talk about the cynical way in which when they wanted to re-release a movie, right, instead of making sequels, what they would do is they'd release it, then they would slowly choke off distribution of the movie, stop it, and then announce a re-release so that demand was driven up by it. Like, for decades, the bean counters at these companies have known how to monetize these products. It's one of the reasons why it's funny to think that Bill Watterson, the guy who wrote the Calvin and Hobbes comics, refused to allow them to turn it into an actual plush because he felt like it destroyed the magic of the character. And that doesn't exist anymore. Like, and then it gets passed down to family, who has even less attachment to a property, right? Like Rings of Power. And then you get cynical reboots for shows like that. And that just leaves another generation to be kind of poisoned into the well of corporate art.
Did we get this other 20 from Shani Wilder? I don't think we got to this yet. Scully was Catholic on the X-Files. She verified it in season 1, episode 3, the Erlenmeyer Flask. Chris Carter loved using Catholic imagery, like in my favorite episode, season 2, episode 14, Die Hand Die Verletzt.
I think it's Die Die Verletzt or whatever. I only remember that because I think I watched
about a town of Satan worshippers.
Yes. Yep, there's a lot of great.
She was Catholic.
She was a Catholic. Yep, they get into it more as the show goes on. Like, it becomes a bigger part of her character as the show goes on. So, all right, let's move on. There's a ton more to get into today. What would you like to see, the cringe or the cute of the day?
Let's see the cringe first.
Okay. All right. Here we go. It says explaining Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni to a stranger. Oh my gosh.
I love these videos.
It looks definitely like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively were conspiring against Justin Baldoni.
I only know Ryan Reynolds, not the others two.
Well, he's looking bad right now, brother. He reached out to Matt Damon.
He's looking bad now, brother.
Bradley Cooper, Colleen Hoover. I mean, he went across the board trying to get all the heavy hitters in a row against Baldoni.
Hollywood stars? I don't know.
Baldoni was younger. He's hotter. He was close.
There's a comment that says Baldoni is not hotter. In what planet is that guy hotter than Ryan?
Close to his wife.
Human brain is very complicated. No one can know what's happening inside.
But with the text messages, we can chart out a reasonable conclusion.
We can or we can't.
We
I love how
can.
it also provides
No, we can.
receipts.
No.
The text messages between Taylor and Blake are very poignant.
Personal matters of other people. Why do I spend time on that?
It's important.
Why?
It's important. Like literally me and you talking to anyone about our job.
Yeah.
It's like me and you pretending like what we do is important because it gives us a reason to live.
This is literally my life.
It's about DV.
They're doing that to get publicity, to get ad, to be seen. That's their job. That's their business.
Somebody needs to give this guy a podcast.
They're saying they're using
Seriously.
domestic violence as a vessel for their own monetary gain?
I can say yes. You don't think so?
No way. Baldoni wouldn't do that.
Well, of course he would. He would.
No way.
Nobody,
Baldoni is a good male feminist, good guy.
nobody who's done a TED Talk would ever do something like that.
Hell no. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's. The guy looks like David Nichol, the actor David Nichol. All right. Cute of the day. This one is from the Yarn Mom. Another submission for Cute of the day. Penny is 16 and still busy. She barely tolerates her housemates, Pipsqueak and Birdie, but they are obsessed with her.
Aww. I'm sorry, but that's the definition of a cute ugly dog.
Oh, it's so cute. Oh,
Very cute.
That is amazing. They all look like they. I mean, they look like they get along. Look at that right there. They're just hanging out.
That's adorable.
All right, let us move on.
So we are well past the golden age of reality television, which is one of my favorite things. And now society is coming to grips with the human cost of entertainment like this. Now, Netflix has published a documentary about the inner workings of America's Next Top Model, which was hosted by supermodel Tyra Banks. And it's called Reality Check. And it just premiered a couple of days ago. And the entire timeline, from what I can tell, is just ripping Tyra Banks apart for terrorizing these models and emotionally abusing them for entertainment value and using all of these salacious details of their lives to get viewership. And I mean, I don't think anyone should be surprised that this is how reality television works. Mm-hmm. I certainly am not. And it just feels like they're trying so desperately to force Tyra Banks into an apology, into an official mea culpa moment. And she is consistently dodging accountability and saying, you know, that's just how things were at the time. That's just the industry. That's just television. I was doing my best to make this show a great show. It wasn't some sort of philanthropic effort. So now one of the winners, Adrienne Curry, who actually has been in our chat before.
Yes.
She was the winner of the first season of America's Next Top Model. She spoke out following the documentary, although she was not interviewed in the documentary. This is what she had to say. I think it was incredibly misinterpreted and reported on in a way that was misleading, but here's what she had to say.
Here we go.
Okay, I have mad respect for Tyra Banks. She is not sorry. She is not apologizing to you. That bitch is not effing sorry. She will not bend the knee. And I respect that. Well, you want her to lie? Lie and say how bad she feels? Everyone's coming to me and they're like, none of the judges were sorry. Why should they be? They're all loaded. Why should they give a flying... You know, if they didn't give up at the time, they certainly ain't going to give it up now. But mad respect for Tyra, because that's hard to push back on that many people trying to struggle session you. And she's just like, you, and do what I want. And I got to respect that. So I tip my hat, my lady. Keep on being yourself, which is someone who doesn't give a flying shit.
Okay.
So TMZ reported on this, saying that Adrienne Curry was defending Tyra Banks. But as soon as I looked at the replies, I realized that Adrienne Curry intended this to be a satirical post. She was not attempting to defend Tyra Banks. She was jokingly defending Tyra Banks and saying, in fact, that, you know, she made serious missteps in the way that she hosted the show and overlooked, you know, basic human decency to the contestants, including herself. Adrienne even said that she was one of the first contestants to get SA'd in the process of filming the show, which, you know, when she had a reaction to what happened to her, she was completely written off and told to ignore it, basically. So she was not intending to, you know, come to Tyra Banks' defense after all, but this was widely misinterpreted. She said, "I was the first woman to be assaulted on that show and was almost eliminated for having a reaction to it. I was scolded and told there was no excuse for my being upset to make it to my last casting. It's all on film." And all these people were asking her, like, why didn't you just, you know, participate in the documentary to say your piece? Why didn't you do an interview? They surely reached out, of course, but she, you know, justifiably has zero trust for producers on anything like this, especially for a Netflix documentary. She doesn't have any trust for producers, given her experience already being on reality television. Things are deceptively edited, you know, things are left out. Your context, the context of what you said is mysteriously missing as soon as the final product comes out. So I understand completely why she didn't feel like it was a good decision to air out the dirty laundry on the documentary itself. But tons of other former contestants did. And I think that their complaints are in a range of different, you know, degrees of seriousness. One of them was from a model who also got assaulted on the show. Basically, she said, it was Shandy Sullivan. She said that in the show, her SA was allegedly framed as a cheating storyline, that she cheated on her boyfriend when in reality, according to her account of the events, she was blacked out and raped, and that it was all filmed. And the storyline that they created for this in the show is that she was merely hooking up with a guy and cheating on her boyfriend. Yeah. So like, that's obviously like about as gross as it gets in terms of exploiting people for entertainment value. But the other complaints that I've seen so far are pretty ridiculous and self-indulgent. A lot of the models are pissed off that going on the show closed doors for them as models, and that they weren't hired for a bunch of other jobs after the show because they were seen as a spectacle. They were seen as reality stars instead of models.
That seems to be true of most of the musicians as well. Like, they end up being successful because they can use the name of the reality show they were on to work independent.
But well, that's different for music, but they're claiming the opposite. They're literally saying they got blacklisted in the modeling industry.
No, my point was like
being on the show.
My point was like they had to go do it their own, like on their own. Like, they're not going to record labels; they're going to work for themselves. And you know, a lot of them will build up a following on social media afterwards because they put a lot of eyeballs on them while they were on the show. Right. But it's not going to necessarily get you, land you a record deal with one of these big companies, at least not.
But of course, back then they didn't have social media.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
There was really no avenue to like make it all on your own. Like, you had to get jobs, and they claimed that that Tyra Banks intentionally misled them about the opportunities that would be opened up to them if they won the show or participated in the show. And this one contestant, said later on, Tyra admitted this to her and said, like, yeah, I knew that, you would lose out on a ton of opportunities because you were on the show. But it is what it is. Like, that, as far as I can tell, is just, petty stuff. You know, you should have done your own research. You should have maybe talked to other people who were on the show about what it did for their careers, if that was the reason you went on the show in the first place instead of just to get attention. I think that's a stupid thing to complain about. And then, you know, there were other people saying that Tyra pressured them to get cosmetic procedures that they didn't want or need to get. There was one model who had a tooth gap, and she convinced this model to close it with an invasive dental procedure. And she complied with that order because Tyra said, well, you're not going to get any jobs if you don't look conventional enough.
Little did they know that in the year 2026, half the models at Target, like on the pictures, have tooth gap.
But if we're talking about the early 2000s,
Yes.
that was probably true.
Yes.
And like Tyra's probably right in principle to just tell her that. And then there are a bunch of other complaints about politically incorrect segments that they did. One of them involved basically going in blackface and race swapping yourself. And there's this tweet that I sent you from Alice in Harvard about that. Someone texted her a still that was included in the documentary of her in blackface.
You're in the new
Yeah.
America's Next Top Model documentary, and it's this.
Yeah, and then she said, "Why would they do this to me?" But then I have to respond and say, "Well, you chose to do it. You chose that. Like that was your choice. You did not have to participate in this if it made you uncomfortable."
When did it was Kimmel that did it, right? It was Kimmel that did blackface. It was probably around the same time.
Kind of everyone did. I don't know. Like it was less controversial or offensive at the time. But
not to mention it was
really...
Tyra Banks instructing you to do it, which just feels like it's a trap designed to humiliate you.
Yeah, exactly. And then this other former contestant who was eliminated, named Tiffany Richardson, had some choice words for Tyra Banks because when she was eliminated on the show, she tried to like play it off like she didn't even care. She was like kind of shrugging and acting like it was no big deal that she was getting kicked off. And Tyra blew up at her and started screaming at her. That's in the clip posted by
one, right?
Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It says Tyra really scared all of us.
Here we go. Let's listen to it.
I can't read that. You read 10 times better than half of those girls over there.
And then to see her like just kind of giving up,
You come in here with a defeatist attitude. I don't have a bad attitude. Maybe I am angry inside. I've been through stuff, so I'm angry.
Yes, but this is not, be quiet,
but
Tiffany.
everybody
Be
knows.
quiet.
I love the needle drop.
Yeah. The sound
I've never in my
design.
life yelled at a girl like this. When my mother yells at this, it's because she loves me. I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
Tyra really scared all of us. Like we literally jumped out of our seats. What is happening right now?
It was definitely the most difficult moment on set I had ever experienced.
It was ugly.
Learn something from this. You roll in your eyes and you act like this because you've heard it all before. You don't know where the hell I come from. You have no idea what I've been through. But I'm not a victim. I grow from it and I learn. Take responsibility for yourself.
I mean, I'm on Tyra's side on this one. I have no idea what's going on. But, like,
That's just, like,
why is she low-key spitting, though?
I just think, like, you earn the right to be Tyra Banks. You earn the right to yell at someone like that on national television. Like, she clearly had the credibility and the clout to not just get away with, but be justified in responding this way. Like, I know I'm biased here, but I just think, you know, you're looking to this woman for a huge boost in your career. You're looking to her for real mentorship and promotion, and she is giving that to you.
Yes.
And then you want to act like it should all be like, you know, she's your kindergarten teacher.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredibly entitled. I think that her reaction was like not entirely unreasonable, but then Tiffany Richardson, the contestant in that clip, responded to this on Instagram, responded to Tyra's explanation saying that, you know, she's just got too much in her feelings, saying, at Tyra Banks, You are one lying ass, tired ass bitch. You know how you treated me the whole time, off and on camera. You was a bully. You treated me like shit and said the nastiest things about me and my son. Now, we can never know what occurred between them off camera. We only know what was on camera.
And if she said something about her son, that's clearly over the line. But as far as what I just witnessed on camera, that just seemed like solid advice from your parents to buck up and quit complaining and understand that the world isn't out there to cater to your every whim. Sometimes you gotta, you know what it was? It was just a loud version of, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
People had similar complaints about Naomi Campbell as well. Just that she's a bitch, that she's overbearing and she's harsh. She was on a different show. It was a similar modeling show, but not this one. And there are other things to criticize Naomi Campbell for, likely, her mentions in the Epstein files. But when it comes to their behavior on these reality TV shows, I just don't understand what there is to be so scandalized about. There's obviously like the sexual assault stuff, like that's bad. That's like a valid thing to complain about. But then when you place it, it's sort of like what happened in Quiet on Set.
Yes, exactly like that.
When you place those complaints next to complaints about like
pay disputes,
she yelled at me, like she was a bitch to me, then no one can take any of it seriously. And then, Tyra Banks, of course, used this documentary as a jumping off point for a new season, a return of America's Next Top Model, a cycle 25. And she says, you have no idea what we have planned.
I mean, it better be every bit. She better be saying mean stuff like this to all of the women. Otherwise, it's just a watered down version of it.
Right, exactly. They better bring it back in all of its former glory. I know Adrienne Curry was being facetious in that video where she was like, congrats to Tyra for not giving a shit about anything. But like, I genuinely kind of feel that way. There were certainly many mistakes, and I think she was called to account for them in the documentary. But there were other moments that I just thought were so petty and self-indulgent and immature. And I also just wanted to bring up a couple of iconic moments. First off, from Tyra Banks's daytime television show. She was speaking to a woman who claimed to be able to like read souls. And this was an incredible moment.
Here we go.
Pictures that I'm thinking about hooking you up with.
All right.
Let's see these three guys. Which one do you like?
Oh, I've seen this one.
Check out the eyes.
Okay. I guess number one.
Number one.
Sure.
Okay. He's hot. Right?
She has the most quintessentially evil voice I've ever heard in my entire life. She just sounds duplicitous and mean girl.
Blue piercing eyes. His name is Robert Chambers, and he's known as the Preppy Killer. He strangled a woman to death in Central Park in 1986.
Unreal.
Okay.
Yeah.
The way that
And
they
the other two are murderers
choreographed
as well.
this
One was
moment.
Andrew Cunanan, and the other Ted Bundy.
Okay.
Look at
Okay.
this guy's eyes that she chose.
And then,
Okay.
lastly, there is one contestant from Top Model that unfortunately we did not hear from in the documentary, but I really would like to check in on where she's at today.
I don't know. I just don't think this is like great for me. I don't want to do it. Like I can't take the pressure of it. But don't you think any job interview?
Look, good for her.
And look, she just gave you a tutorial on how to react if you participate in a reality TV show and you don't like how it's going. You leave.
You just walk out.
It's so easy. And she became an icon in and of itself for that moment. Nobody even knows who this chick is. And they think, you know what? If all of these contestants, when they felt their boundaries were violated in some way, just left, then none of this would have happened. And they wouldn't be on a documentary crying about it after the fact.
I imagine, though, like, it's kind of crazy to think, like, if the stories about the assaults are true, that they're just, like, it feels like there's only a matter of time before some civil lawsuits come down the line.
Right. But then it's like, deal with that in a lawsuit. Like, why does it need to be a Netflix documentary that people are watching while shoveling popcorn into their mouths. Take it seriously because it's serious.
Agreed.
Don't pair that with a bunch of unserious bullshit that makes you just, sound like sour grapes. Like that's it just makes no sense to me. I still stan Tyra Banks and her Australian hot ice cream business.
All right,
living her best life in Australia right now.
Let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into. Divorce is in season.
So back in 2024, we discussed the women's clothing brand Reformation because they decided to pick Monica Lewinsky as their official brand ambassador, and they released a special limited edition clothing line sponsored by Monica Lewinsky as a feminist icon for Gen Z. And I really didn't think that they would find a way to top that, but they did. They have a new collection called the Divorce Collection. And the face of it is a high-powered divorce attorney named Laura Wasser. I had never heard of this chick before. I had never seen her work, but she has dealt with a number of celebrity clients, including Britney Spears, Kim Kardashian, Kris Jenner, Ryan Reynolds, and tons of other celebrity divorces. And she is now the face of making divorce glamorous, making divorce chic and high fashion, and profiting off of it. So Reformation chose her as the star of this campaign, according to them, because she's really good at helping women feel sexy and empowered. And coincidentally, so are we. In our new campaign with the acclaimed divorce lawyer, we're doing that together. And they
wait.
You told our lawyer,
are they
and
saying
she
that
doesn't want you to settle.
Are they saying that they are good at that, or the lawyer is good at that? Because if they're saying that the lawyer,
this is something they have in common, which is why they teamed up.
So what they're admitting, ladies and gentlemen, is that taking half of your husband's money makes you feel sexy and empowered.
That is true. And they say this is a campaign for the woman who doesn't have to settle. So more about Laura Wasser. She actually inherited the business from her divorce attorney father. And she's a Nepo divorce lawyer, if those exist now.
Okay.
She is now, she actually created her own firm, which was called in the 2000s, It's Over Easy. Real clever. And then that was bought out by divorce.com, which I didn't know was a thing. She is now, according to divorce.com, and their Meet the Team page, the chief of divorce evolution.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, they say, despite her renown as a divorce attorney to stars, or perhaps because of it, Laura has made it her life's work to help. Laura has made it her life's work to help people divorce through less combative, more affordable solutions. Laura dishes on how divorce really works behind the scenes and her passion for easing the toll that divorce can take on families and children. And for her own personal background, she has been married once and divorced that guy. And since then has had a few different boyfriends. She has 2 sons from those men. Not really sure what combination of mixed blended family that is, but she has never been married since her first divorce. And this is her life's work. And, the entire campaign is basically meant to girl bossify the entire concept of divorce, make it aspirational, make it glamorous, make it sexy, make it chic.
They're gonna give it a showcase in an episode of All's Fair with Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, that's actually the name of her podcast. Laura Wasser's podcast is called All's Fair. But let's look at the images here that were published by Reformation, starting with, of course, the successor to the Target Dump Him sweater that they released for Valentine's Day. So there's just a simple message to get the point across. She's then, looking super duper glamorous in these huge sunglasses and her stilettos. And these are all the ready-to-wear clothing items that they have released in the divorce collection. And they say it's for women who don't need to settle. And everyone is like, wow, this is so effing iconic.
Yeah, all the comments are saying that.
And then they have made a few short snippets to promote the divorce collection, which are even more telling. And it's where she's on the phone with her clients telling them to dump him.
Here we go.
Relationship to polyamory, because we need 3 incomes to survive in this economy.
Dump him.
Okay.
Is this a red flag? Everything was going great, but last night he yelled his work wife's name in bed.
Dump him.
Wait, why is there a guy who has like who's hearted this with a comment? That's just weird.
Yeah.
No, I'm here. You know, hi.
Okay, one more.
He kisses his mum on the lips and says I should be grateful she raised him to have no intimacy issues.
Dump him.
Okay. All right.
So that's the entire message. This February, Reformation and Laura Wasser want you to dump him.
It has been liked by a Instagram page called The Prenup Podcast.
Oh, great.
Yes.
And I just want to say, when I made a video about the Target Dump Him sweater last month or earlier this month, whenever that came out, I was basically saying the same thing. This is a psyop that is intended to create animosity between the sexes and propagate the idea that harmony between the sexes and that love and affectionate relationships are completely impossible. When I said that, tons of people were like, you are blowing this out of proportion. It's just a sweater. It's not that deep, blah, blah, blah. And I just find it telling that like the same thing would be said about this campaign, and it has the same exact concept. And you've got multiple, like you've got at this point a slate of multinational corporations. In Reformation's case, one that sold out to private equity years ago, that are essentially trying to psyop you into being miserable and alone.
You'll spend more money.
That,
You'll spend more money on materialistic things. Yes.
Single women do, in fact, spend more money than married women with families. And
well, at least on the things that they're on the things they're selling, right? Like people with money with with families spend money on completely different things. They're just looking to increase their market share by getting a new target demographic of people that will spend money on the things that they're making.
Yes, but when it comes to the fashion industry and also, what used to be known as fashion media, which has totally become a different beast, they are trying to basically psyop that target demographic into being obedient, consistent consumers, to just never stop consuming products. And this is what they're selling you. And if I point that out, like I sound like a paranoid schizophrenic, I don't really care. It's just the truth. And they're using something that women naturally gravitate towards, which is clothing, which is fashion, beautiful clothing. There's nothing wrong with loving that, in order to propagate this message. And I find that incredibly sinister.
If they are progressive, they should be making a dump her shirt too, not because they want men to buy it, but because they want women who might be married to other women to buy it. That's the natural progression of this.
Right. Where's the inclusivity?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point is that there's a larger market, a larger market cap there. Your unhappy straight women, you unhappy gay women can be just as unhappy as unhappy straight women.
Statistically, they get divorced more often.
What is she doing? She's just leaving money on the table.
Yeah, exactly. Now, to bring it back to the Monica Lewinsky campaign, I thought it made perfect sense for them to choose Monica Lewinsky to promote their brand.
How long ago was that?
What, the Clinton scandal?
No. The campaign they did with Monica Lewinsky. Is that since
That was in
passed?
2024.
Okay, continue.
That was in 2024 that they had her release her own collection that was modeled after her, I guess, reputation as a feminist icon, which is news to me. But that's what feminism is. That's what it represents, is just dodging accountability, destroying marriages and families, blaming men for all of your problems, even the self-inflicted ones. This is the same exact thing in a different shade.
Well, I mean, didn't they try to rehab Casey Anthony's image recently too?
I mean, then it will come full circle. If Reformation releases,
I'm not saying them. I'm saying feminism. Feminism in general.
Be perfectly in line with their ideology.
Feminism in general.
That's the next logical step.
Yeah.
Casey Anthony and Reformation doing a collab together would make perfect sense for their brand.
Feminism in general is like responsible for the fact that Casey Anthony can come back out of jail and be like, you know what? There's a career path for me. Same way, some might even argue, though, to a lesser extent. Who was the? Oh my gosh, I completely forgot her name. The girl who had her boyfriend kill her dad.
Oh, Gypsy
Rose Blanchard. Obviously, that's a very different case. But the point is it's made possible by feminism.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard, Reformation, fashion collab in the works.
Did your boyfriend kill your dad, but now you're out of jail? Dump him.
Yeah, dump him, sis.
That's what it is.
That's what a true girl boss would do.
All right, let's move on. We've got more stuff to get into.
Yeah. So, friend of the show, CJ Pearson, has earned this reputation for becoming sort of a conservative nightlife mogul. He has hosted a number of different events for young conservatives in the DC area specifically. And the latest was for Valentine's Day. And it was basically a matchmaking event for all people in DC that are MAGA. And it was reviewed by Vanity Fair. They're basically still trying to, sully the reputation of his events after the Rolling Stone Cruel Kids table cover that made it look super, aspirational and impressive. They're trying to, now make his events into a laughing stock by editorializing and putting their own spin on it. So he responded saying, "This past weekend, I threw an event for 500 plus MAGA singles in Deep Blue DC. Why? Because the more MAGA babies and marriages, the better. However, Vanity Fair chose to run this silly headline to describe it. Maybe if the left stopped aborting all of their babies, events like this wouldn't make them so nervous." So, that last part isn't entirely true. Liberals get married and have kids all the time. They don't have as many kids as conservatives, but honestly, the difference is not that significant. However, there was definitely a bias evident in the title here from Vanity Fair, written by Andrew Trunsky. It says, "MAGA is in the air inside Waka Flocka Flame and CJ Pearson's horned up, paranoid Valentine's party. The tequila, McDonald's, and makeouts were flowing as the Trump-endorsing rapper tried to wax apolitical amid the young conservative scene. One partygoer told Vanity Fair she wished people would be, quote, not so mean."
Can I ask a question?
Know what that means.
Before we get into the article, I did the article is it's a master class in just taking barbs, just poking at people. But okay, call me cynical, but in relation to his tweet, I don't believe that they put these parties together because they want to spike the birth rate. I don't.
Well, if that's why they're putting these parties together, then
that would be, I guess,
doing nothing to accomplish that.
I guess I could say that is a noble goal if that is in fact your goal, but most of the time I just assume they want to party and hang out. And you know what?
And that's
fine.
And that's totally a valid reason to throw a party,
yes,
so that people hang out and have fun.
Yeah.
What a novel concept. I guess get back to us when you have surveyed all of the people invited and find out who got married because they met at the MAGA is in the air event. Let me know when there are some MAGA babies from one of these events, I guess. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. But Daily Mail also put together a similar headline. Struggling Trump singles stage high voltage hip hop bash after being swiped left by woke Washington. So the narrative is that all of these MAGA people in DC or even New York City are completely undateable because they live in this densely populated liberal urban area, and they're completely written off by the normal singles in their area because they are Trump supporters, which honestly, I don't really believe that, especially for the women.
Neither do I.
I don't think that a woman is going to get swiped left because she puts conservative on her dating profile.
No,
that is more of a problem that men have to face these days. But they did interview one 27-year-old saying that she was hitting it off with a guy at a DC bar until he glimpsed a photo of her wallpaper on her phone, which was a picture of the president. And it was a go away moment. Like, oh no, you have a picture with him. Goodbye.
Oh, okay. It was a picture with the president. I still think that that's weird, but like, at least it wasn't just a picture of Trump.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So supposedly there are heterosexual men out there who will completely write off a woman for being a Trump supporter.
He got the ick. He got
in
the ick.
DC of all places. So anyway, let's get into the Vanity Fair piece. It says, it was Friday the 13th, but that hardly seemed to deter the young Republicans trying their luck at finding love in the Capitol. The MAGAs in the Air event at a club in downtown DC, known for its burlesque acts and bottle service, promised young conservatives the opportunity to pair with others who share similar values and opinions. In a city overwhelmingly liberal and where dating is notoriously difficult, this drew 400 people ready to mix, mingle, and cut loose. Staffers with Donald Trump's administration, Hill minions, and other conservative politicos stuffed into sacks a 2-story cabaret and club in downtown DC. They were dressed to impress, men in suits, women floor-length gowns, many wearing off-brand MAGA hats available on almost every table. Cliques sipped free champagne or well drinks, the latter available for purchase at the first floor bar. Projected on the wall above the bar, MAGA is in the air. About an hour in, CJ Pearson appeared, heading straight to the bar's upper floor with his entourage. Clad in a velvet red jacket and black pants, the 23-year-old conservative influencer and former co-chair of the RNC Youth Advisory Council ascended to a balcony with an open bar firmly cordoned off from the masses below. The area is for CJ's close friends, an assistant of his tells me, though there are well over 100 people up there. Bottle service starts moments after he arrives and continues throughout the night, with female bartenders in revealing dark red leotards serving bottles of Grey Goose. The only food that appeared was McDonald's, which I was told had nothing to do with it being the president's favorite grub.
Okay, I don't believe that either.
That's not true either.
Somebody's definitely lying.
No, yeah. Soon after his arrival, assistants went through the crowd handing out wristbands, green for singles and red for those unavailable, hoping to catalyze matchmaking. The only way to beat the bad guys is to outpopulate them, Pearson posted on X. Okay. Eventually, both floors were packed. Couples sporting red wristbands canoodled in the corner as groups of guys wearing green swarmed the bar. Green pairs chatted, danced, sipped their drinks, and as the night went on, some ended up making out in seats on the sidelines. There was no Bad Bunny, but there was no Kid Rock either. The vibes resembled those of a year ago when young conservatives were celebrating Trump's return to the...
Oh, your microphone cut out. I will continue reading while she gets her microphone back. That's going to happen. It says, the entertainment included dancers in masks or dangling from aerial silks, but for people in a safe space, as a few put it to me, many were extremely averse to chatting, even off the record. One seemed almost paranoid when I went to shake his hand, and some refused to give me more than their time, or more than their first name.
Oh, okay.
The smartest thing that they could have done was not give this lady their first names.
Yeah, I completely understand why they were suspicious of the journalist.
Oh, absolutely, like 110%, absolutely.
The woman who wrote a profile on Tim definitely like used that quote from me where I said, "We don't trust you," as in journalists, as a way to make me sound paranoid, but like it's completely justified. Like, of course, anything they say is going to be used against them.
Yeah.
The crowd wasn't entirely 20-somethings. South Carolina Congressman William Timmons, 41, without a wristband, was moving around in no mood to chat, though he said he was there in part because his press secretary was a good friend of Pearson's. White House Staff Secretary Will Scharf, best known for presenting the president with executive orders, was chatting off to the side. Kara Castronova, the pro-Trump reporter for Mike Lindell, floated around.
Oh, you left out you left out the barb. You left out what they said there. They called him the pillow salesman and election conspiracist.
Pillow salesman, election conspiracist.
Like I said,
right.
all of the digs in this are expertly placed.
Yes. One House staffer said she was just out to have fun with her friends. Working on the Hill was kind of like being on campus. Another said he was out with his boys. When I spoke with Pearson, he was chatting with a friend in the corner. He's affable and media trained, was not wearing a wristband, and was cagey about his relationship status. He later told me he has no trouble dating in liberal DC. Even liberal women want to be with a conservative man who won't Venmo request them for a cup of coffee or make them split the bill.
Wait, doesn't that negate the purpose of this whole thing?
Well, no, because he's saying like he's trying to help other people.
Well, yeah, but he's saying that he said conservative men have no problem dating in liberal DC, which negates the purpose of this event. I'm just giving him shit.
I think he was more so saying that about himself.
I know,
He was like, I certainly have no problems dating, but all these other people really need my help.
I just,
right?
I look down upon them, and I'm just giving CJ shit. It's funny. Continue.
And of course, they mention that he was the one behind the Cruel Kids Table event. And after the fact, he threatened to sue the Rolling Stone after the story ran, alleging that it cropped out Black attendees at the party from all of the photos. And since then, he has embraced the moniker. It was a pejorative that was assigned to us that we took over. He calls his partying cohort of young conservatives a movement of which he is the founder. It's one that he thinks will outlive the Trump era and one that comes with swag. Cruel Kids XOXO was stitched into many of the free baseball caps. To Pearson, young conservatives are still on the rise. Polls that show Trump has squandered the record support he built among young Americans in 2024 be damned. He insists that Gen Z is still looking for something new that speaks to them and that the left has failed to provide. What we're focused on is making Gen Z cool again. And then he says Big Balls when Big Balls walks in, the former Doge staffer. Which, of course, they had to include.
By the way, I don't know if it's untoward to point out, but if the idea was that he was cagey about his relationship status, there's like a photo of him making out with a woman in this picture.
They included that in the story? That's crazy.
It's in the story.
Well, I guess we shouldn't pull it up to show it in case he doesn't want that to be included. But
like nothing you can do about it.
Right. And then when Big Balls heard that a journalist was in sight, he ran away. He said, when I ran into him later and asked if he had a couple minutes to chat about what he's up to post-Doge, he barked no and scurried away, making him sound like an animal. Yeah. Pearson attended U of Alabama for a time and calls himself the social chair of MAGA, stressing that he does not want his parties to resemble those thrown during the RNC. For a long time, people would roll up to these events and they'd be so chuggy and cringe. It would be 70% men, 30% women. Look around, what do you see? That's from my education. If you're going to have a good time, you need good proportion. Pearson rose to prominence before he could drive a car by posting YouTube videos criticizing Obama and the Democratic Party. He's now a Fox News regular and is mused about one day running for the highest office. But tonight, he's hesitant to talk politics. He dodged when asked if there is a Trump successor he likes the most and whether the president himself may be undermining his mission with policies that hurt younger Americans. But he acknowledged that in this era of politics, Gen Z has to fight for Gen Z. We're going to inherit the consequences of the current era of governance today. So if we're not fighting, then we will be left behind. Can you just imagine that he's in this like dark nightclub setting with the music on full blast, like Waka Flocka Flame performing in the same room, and this Vanity Fair journalist is just screaming into his ear, so what do you think about Trump's approval ratings among Gen Z? And what do you think about the misogyny and racism espoused by Nick Fuentes and Andrew Tate?
They literally asked that question.
You're just totally killing the vibe. And then Pearson said, they're doing what they're doing. I don't really pay much attention to it. We're on the precipice of an entire cultural revolution, and we are killing it. The club was visibly sweaty when the night's headliner, Waka Flocka Flame, took to stage. People rose to the rafters in a bid to get a better view of the singer who endorsed Trump in the last election. Move, one woman shouted at me when I inadvertently bumped into the photo she was taking. Flocka himself was much more relaxed. It's not his first time performing at a CJ Pearson hosted event, but he said the crowd's conservative bent had little to do with his return. And they ask Waka Flocka Flame how he politically identifies, which he said, with the people, spoken like a future politician.
Yes, yes. Answer with no answer whatsoever.
So, it basically ends by giving this comment from one of the attendees, Sierra Garcia, a 26-year-old visiting from Texas. She said, everyone up here has some effing ego. She said she was all about love and is not overtly political. Everyone argues, everyone bitches, and I just want to have a good time. I think people should be more warming to each other and not so mean. So I don't know how this normal girl ended up at this party, but that was like the way that they decided to tie the end of this article in a bow.
She pulled up to the event with like a "Be Kind" sticker on the back of her car.
I just don't understand how you end up in this position as like an apolitical normie, where you're at a Waka Flocka Flame MAGA singles matchmaking event.
I bet you. Look,
I
I bet you what it is. Like, on a good day, that's her mindset. But not every day is a good day. And that's
some days she's feeling petty.
Not even petty, but like some days you don't have the stomach for the stupidity of politics or the constant fighting. And on other days you do. And this is one of those days where you're out, you're doing something. For one, you're trying to party, and they're like asking you these stupid questions, and you're like, you know what? I just want everybody to get along. But as soon as you get home and you read something stupid that somebody you disagree with says, suddenly you're back in it. And I think that that's probably the plight of a lot of people, whereas politics used to be something that you read in the news and maybe got into a debate with a friend about at a gathering. It didn't follow you around in your pocket everywhere now. So you have to learn where to let it, where to separate yourself from it. So I'm sure there are more than a few people. I feel that way sometimes, if I'm being completely honest. There are days when I want to call everybody stupid. And then there are days where I'm like, you know what? There's too much anger in the world, and it really depends on what day it is. So I get it.
Ultimately, I don't think that CJ Pearson's parties are going to make a dent in our declining birth rate. I'm just going to go out on a limb and make that educated guess. But I think that throwing parties for the sake of just getting people out of the house and connecting with each other in general is a worthy endeavor.
Perfectly good reason to do it.
I just saw these new stats, which I think were maybe published by Jean Twenge, who is the author of iGen, about the decline in just like teen hangouts and teen dating and all of these things. Basically, young people are as socially isolated as they've ever been. And that doesn't just apply to teenagers, it applies to adults as well. Like the amount of adults who report having, over 5 or over 10 close friends has plummeted since the 90s. And that's, independent of just social media being involved in the equation. So I think that what he's doing is worthwhile in and of itself. Although there have been some people that have become copycats of this formula. One of them is named Raquel DeBono, and she through this event in New York called like Make America Hot Again or something. She said it was because the MAGA gatherings she had attended before were stuffy. So they're trying to like create a distance between the old guard of Republicans and conservatives who are wearing like suits full of mothballs and their debate club bros. They're trying to separate the branding and make it cool and chic and like, subversive to be a conservative young adult.
But they're not.
And it's not always effective, and it's also not always conservative. And they opened this review in The Atlantic of one of Raquel's parties saying, one night at a party in East Village, a pair of 20-somethings made their way to the bar's single-occupancy bathroom and proceeded to go at it. And I know this because as I waited outside, the young man inside began to film the encounter. The bright light of his phone reversed the effects of the bathroom's one-way mirror to reveal a pantsless youth with a deeply unfortunate broccoli haircut and a young woman in a Make America Hot Again cap. And when I mentioned the encounter to the event's organizer, Raquel, she clapped her hands and squealed, "I told you people find love at my parties."
That is just, it's beyond
I don't
parody.
think that we should like take this person seriously. Like I'm not really as willing to cut her slack.
Yeah.
To be honest. Like that is disgusting. And I don't really understand why. Like if you just want to throw raucous, degenerate parties, go for it. You don't have to brand them as MAGA and conservative. No one is forcing you to do that.
She wants to be able to throw those parties and use slurs. That's what it is.
Is that it? Is that the trade-off that we have to make now?
That's what it is.
I don't know. There are both like interesting and original aspects of it and also like super cringe aspects of what they're doing. And I want to be as fair as possible to CJ Pearson because like I always have had a good impression of him, but like some of the people who go to these parties are like really annoying. And they're probably single for reasons other than them being conservative. Like that's probably the ugly truth. Is like a lot of these people are single because they would be single regardless of their political views.
So it wasn't the politics all along.
No, I don't think it's actually the fact that you voted for Trump that you're single. I think it's probably your, deep, possibly incurable personality flaws.
I like the idea of that being turned into a movie where this guy goes, it's like a character study where this guy goes through these failed dates and he's sure it's because of who he voted for. And at the end, he finds out that all the women voted for the same person he did. He's just a bad person.
Yeah, it's just something to think about, just a little food for thought. You might not be getting written off by the women you date because you're conservative. It might be something else. I'm just saying it's a possibility. Okay.
All right, let's go to Super Chats then.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, I could have written memento homo quia pulvis es et in pulverem reverteris. Remember, man, that thou art dust, and to dust thou shalt return. LOL. I wouldn't have known that by memory, but thank you. Trudy Jones said, here are the rest of the parties. Oh, this was from earlier, 500. Thank you again, Trudy Jones. Greg Duvier said, I'm trying to fast, but social media keeps showing me cooking videos. Social media is trying to make me fail. Me too. I was getting so many food videos last night, and I couldn't stop watching them because it made me feel like I was eating, vicariously through them.
I was watching this AI video. It says like your entire Instagram feed after the age of 35, and it's just these like fitness influencers. And in the first one, it slow zooms in on this woman on a treadmill and says, "I don't eat until after 1 p.m. because I'm better than you." And then all the comments are just like, it's like, and then you spread the cottage cheese over your bagel because you can get 30 grams of protein in a bagel of of cottage cheese. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of accurate. That does seem to be what happens after the age of 35.
I always save these recipe videos. I never
use them. Yeah.
I'm gonna make spaghetti squash. Like, I'm not. I mean, maybe eventually, but like, do I really? Who am I kidding? When I save the spaghetti squash recipe from Instagram,
I'm the same way with I see stuff on X all the time. I'm like, that's interesting. I'm gonna go back and reread that, and then I literally never do.
I never do.
I did like last night. There was one. It was like people with ADHD have what's called rejection sensitive dysphoria. RSD. They give it like initials, like that somehow makes it a real thing. I have no idea if it's a real thing. It says it's an extreme emotional response to perceived criticism or rejection. Your brain can't regulate the emotional pain, so a small comment feels like a devastating attack. A minor correction feels like total failure. Someone's tone feels like hatred. It's not oversensitivity. It's not being dramatic. Your brain literally can't modulate the intensity of that emotional response. It's neurological, not a character flaw. And then Vanessa Santos just responded and said, "Are you a doctor?" And I was like, you know what? You have to like, nobody likes being criticized. Like I saw your post the other day where you're like, people who don't care what people say about them are either saints or psychopaths, and I'm neither.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully I'll become a saint one day. That's the plan, at least. But
working on it.
Until then, I do care about what people say about me. Is there a 20 that we missed here? Oh, I think it's from Pop Culture Junkie. Sorry that we missed that. Items that single women spend discretionary funds on generally have significantly higher profit margins than items purchased by married women with families.
Yep.
I don't have all of the research on that, but like I'm guessing that refers to like cosmetics,
cheaper
clothing,
to make,
skincare.
Have to buy it all the time.
Yeah, fast fashion. Those are my assumptions. But what do married women buy that is less profitable for corporations? Like
crock pots. I have no idea.
That would be interesting to find out. Let us know if you know, Junkie. Okay, High Voltage 75 said starring in Twilight should be humiliating enough. I will not stand for this Twilight slander. It's so performative. I don't know what you get out of pretending to hate Twilight in 2026, in the big 26. It's been like over a decade since that stopped being cool.
Yes.
I think you should just give in and admit that it's a franchise that 100% deserves the hype that it has. And Robert Pattinson should be proud that he was involved in it.
I've seen a bunch of articles going around today, guys. I don't know how accurate it was. The original source was dubious at best. What's that one? It's like Demois.
Dumois or whatever that is.
Again, it's like the one about Jonathan Majors, which came
it's a blind item,
which came from My Time to Shine Hello, which is historically not exactly the most trustworthy site. Doesn't matter. It makes me laugh. But there was a rumor going around today that Chloe Zhao is being picked by Tom Cruise to write the next Mission Impossible movie. And I was thinking, like, you know, what movie has she made that justifies that? Because Eternals failed. That was her last big budget movie. I don't know. It's just got, like you said, blind
fail upwards all the time. That's not shocking.
But that doesn't matter, guys, because you all need to know that, like, I need this to be real. Jonathan Majors is doing a movie with Ben Shapiro at the Daily Wire. I'm sure that this is 100% real and not clickbait at all.
See, but what this communicates is like, if you get Me Too'd, we'll scrape the bottom of the barrel and work with you.
In a soundtrack done by Kid Rock and Waka Flocka Flame. The Jesse Jackson biopic.
Did Kid Rock get Me Too'd? Is that what you're saying?
No, but we're talking about the ghettoized conservative pipeline. My pitch, because somebody said it in the comments, was a Jesse Jackson biopic, because Jesse Jackson just passed. What they need to do is they need to turn it into a Jesse Jackson alt history version where he plays a superhero, because there's no reason for Jesse Jackson to be that jacked. He's Jesse jacked. And he just goes and he literally fights for civil rights with his bare hands.
Can you just pull up that tweet again and pull up that photo of Jonathan Majors?
He's doing the face.
Stop, Jonathan. Jonathan, why do you always make that stupid
They're always smoldering.
face?
They're always trying to smolder.
But it's like, it's the pursing of the lips for me. Well, it's like, it's always that they always like raise their eyebrows and they're like aura farming. Like, what is that?
It's very
look?
Zoolander.
It's so like fruity.
Given that face, I don't know if I can believe that this guy can turn left, because Zoolander couldn't turn left.
This sucks. There is like, I have only seen photos of Jonathan Majors making one expression.
See, Ben is not aura farming in this.
No. Shapiro doesn't have to purse his lips.
With a themes, and then Ben Shapiro's WAP is on the soundtrack as well.
Just like, stop looking at me like that. That's so weird.
Who is the other actor you were saying? Oh, Aaron Taylor Johnson was doing it, you said?
Aaron Taylor Johnson. But also, doesn't Michael B. Jordan do the same thing?
Probably. I mean, I'm sure a lot of the actors on the, they're like, fuck, what face do I make? I have no idea. Like, the last thing you want to do is like be caught in that process where you're like deciding what face to make, and you're like.
But Jonathan Majors is the worst offender on this by far. Like, he must be stopped. Someone needs to tell him that this doesn't look sexy. It just makes everyone uncomfortable. I hope I'm not, speaking out of turn. I think I'm speaking for the majority of us when I say that this is not sexy. It's just embarrassing. Okay? Anyway, just felt like I needed to get that off my chest. Shane H. Wilder said, I'm scared of the Scrubs revival. The final season was abysmal because the cast were no longer residents and they turned the hospital into a college. Oh. I've never watched Scrubs, so
I hadn't.
not really invested.
Yeah, it was not one that I had watched either.
And he also said, Tyra is straight up spitting facts, go off queen. Yeah, I don't even know the context and I'm on her side. Like, that's how you know she has the charisma to be a legendary TV personality.
I mean,
it doesn't even matter what's going on, I'm on her side.
She used a bunch of phrases. She basically said, stop being a victim, quit whining.
Yeah. And like she said in the documentary, something about how Tiffany's attitude, the fact that she was downplaying the importance of her career, offended her in a way that was like specific to them both being Black women. And it was like something about her telling Tiffany like not to, thank you.
Catching up.
I don't even know how many parties have gone on. It doesn't feel like
Okay.
Anyway, she was just saying something about how like she didn't want Tiffany to like be an underachiever or play into like negative stereotypes about Black women by, as she put it, having an attitude. There was a lot about it that kind of went over my head. But Robert Delara said that Tyra incident escalated quickly.
Yep.
Yeah, but we didn't know the full story. I'm planning on eventually going back and doing a full watch through the whole America's Next Top Model series because I never really got into it. Shane H. Wilder said, if I had $1 for every time my dad raised his voice at me growing up to get me to pay attention and fly right, I listened and am better for it. Yeah, I guess, it's different when you're an adult and it's another adult, but at the same time, they're participating in this show because they recognize that, like, they're taking her advice. She's the mentor on the show who's meant to, guide them in their career, and they're supposed to give her the respect that she deserves. Robert Delara said, it's over easy, sounds like a breakfast restaurant. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the double entendre they were going for. Is your marriage, it's over easy, like an egg, I guess. Shane H. Wilder said, Reformation, supporting divorce and destroying society and fashion since the 1500s. That is so true. The name of the clothing brand is Nominal Determinism in Action. Thank you for noticing that. Robert Delera said, has PCC ever thought about putting together a go away list? I'm submitting Monica Lewinsky to be put on that list. A go away list? Like people that we just never want to hear from again? Like
be
people
gone.
who should just be,
yeah.
you know, maybe they should colonize Mars or like move to an island somewhere. I'm going to put Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo first on the list. That would be my nomination.
I said what we should do earlier today because I asked Mary a question. I said, who is more famous? In fact, you know what? Before I even bring it up, I'm going to put it in the chat and we're going to see who they say and who they think is more famous. So I asked Mary the question.
Oh, this is going to be controversial.
Who is more famous? Is it Robert Pattinson or Zendaya? And the reason I said I don't know, because I feel is very close, that Robert Pattinson would have, you know, eyes from both sides of the aisle, because he did both Twilight, which is for women, and Batman, which is for men. He did Tenet. He's got the Nolan bros. He's been in a lot of stuff over the years.
Well, also he had a head start because he was already an adult actor when Zendaya was still a child actor.
Yeah. But my point was, we need to have like an on the ground show where we ask people these questions: who is more famous, this person or this person? And it has to be the uniquely, you know, close ones like this, where you're like, I don't know.
I think it's Zendaya.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to wait and see what people say.
But what do you think? Do you think it's Robert Pattinson?
I mean, I said Zendaya. I think Zendaya. Like my intellectual answer would say that Robert Pattinson has had more time and has had projects that crossed more genres or demographics, but somehow I still feel like it's Zendaya.
I mean, just by virtue of being as overexposed as she is, it's Zendaya. But you didn't answer the question of who's going to be put on your go away list.
Is there Mark Ruffalo? He is the one. Like you know me. I take great pride in not being annoyed by actors who talk about politics. Mm-hmm. There's just something about Mark Ruffalo that I can't stand.
He's the exception to the rule.
There's like, I think it's because he's so husky. He just looks well fed.
Are you body shaming him now?
He looks well fed in a way that says he's leeching off the soul of the American people.
Wow. I wasn't expecting you to go there. That's personal.
I went there, yeah. Like
that was a low blow.
Not to say that he can't. Like I was just, what was I watching earlier? There was like some tweet about how the Seattle Seahawks have declined the White House invitation to go visit because they won the Super Bowl, of course. I don't know if anybody believed that a team from Seattle was going to go. Maybe they would. I don't know. But I saw Bitsy Tulloch posted, like, with all of the atrocities that this administration is doing to black and brown people, can you blame them? The NFL is 70% racial minorities. And I was just like, you know what? And it washes over me. I could still watch Superman and Lois, can still watch Grimm. Think she's a great actress. Doesn't bother me when she talks about politics. There's something about Mark Ruffalo. I think it all traces back. It didn't get bad until there was that picture of him with the sideways hat on. And I just wanted to dump him in a lake.
At No Kings or what was
is
the
that like No
context
Kings? Yeah,
there?
it was like at
He
No
was
Kings.
one of the most annoying, from what I recall, when the SAG strike was still going on.
Yeah.
As well. I mean, he's the most annoying when it comes to like literally every bandwagon, but that was one of them. So you're saying his acting ability is completely it's not worth keeping him at the cost of him being annoying.
Yeah, he doesn't end up. I know he's a great actor, and I know a lot of people speak really highly of his work. Great for you, I guess. But
I only like one thing that he was in, and it was 13 going on 30. But honestly, it could have been somebody else.
I saw somebody in the chat literally list that as like a. As like an example.
Would I give up 13 going on 30 for Mark Ruffalo to shut up? Actually, no, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
No, I wouldn't make that trade-off. Okay, yeah, that looks retarded.
Like, it was, every time I see this photo, I'm just like, bro.
Hello, fellow kids.
Look at that.
He does look well fed. I know what you mean.
No, but not fat. Not fat. He's just he looks like he eats high calorie stuff, but with like really really good natural like good genes, right? Like his body is consistently fighting the ability to be fat, and he does so at the expense of the soul of the American people.
He's feeding on all of our souls, our energy. He's a vampire.
Robert,
is there anyone else that you would put on your go away list though? Celebrity or not? Influencer, politician?
I can't think of any.
I mean, you would put like all politicians on your go away.
I would.
List,
I would. I would do it so all we're left with is Fetterman for 2028.
He's the only politician.
He's the only politician I want anymore is Fetterman. That's it.
Yeah, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo would be on there for sure. Who else am I like a dedicated hater for? Lots of people.
I feel like there is at least one person I'm actually more of a hater of, but I can't think of. I've turned around on all of them. I'm Team Zendaya now. I'm Team Zendaya now. I am. She just doesn't seem to complain all that much. I like that about her.
No, yeah, she seems totally chill. I don't really understand why people hate her so much.
I'm Team Brie Larson these days. I don't care. I don't care.
Brie Larson.
The statute of limitations has run out on her comments about white men in A Wrinkle in Time. Look, we cannot prosecute her again. She served her time. Until she says something stupid again, we can revisit the subject.
It's been a considerable amount of time since she's said something super annoying.
Yeah.
So, maybe she deserves a second chance. All right. Robert Delara said, first Nicki Minaj, now Waka Flocka. MAGA is taking over the rap industry. I wouldn't say they're taking over the rap industry, but I mean, I think maybe it was never as antagonistic toward Trump as they wanted you to believe, because rappers openly praised Trump in their lyrics for years before he became a political figure.
Katie in the chat says Pedro Pascal, go away. Even that, not for me. I don't mind Pedro Pascal as an actor.
No, I agree with that. I want him on the go away list. I would put him on mine.
He's definitely. I mean, he's in the oversaturated market right now.
It's too much.
Yeah,
it's just too much. Yeah, him, Maya Hawke. I would just throw her on there for fun. Like whatever. I don't even feel that strongly about her. She's just annoying. Maya Hawke would go on there. Pretty much, actually, all of the Stranger Things cast except for Millie Bobby Brown. I would just put them all on the go away list, because it's just going to be really annoying to see them try to desperately stay relevant now that the show is over. So they can go away. Who else? I'll probably come up with more as we go on. Burned Oils said, Mary looks like she dipped her face into her garden's dirt to exfoliate her skin today. Dirt has very nice ancestral healing properties.
I didn't know that. Wow. I didn't know that.
I don't know if I should be offended by that comment. Like, is it because of the ashes, or do I just look dirty?
No, they're saying it's because of the ashes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Oh, how did I forget this? You can put Bob Dylan on the go away list. Get out of here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, also Bruce Springsteen. You can go on the go away list. Justin Trudeau. Katy Perry.
I'll be unbiased. Kid Rock can go on the go away list too.
Yeah. Katy Perry needs to go. All of this is, by the way, just figurative. We're not actually saying that they should.
The go away list. They need to leave the country on their own.
They need to go away. They don't need to die. We wish no harm on them. We just want them to stop talking. Shane H. Wilder said, my feed keeps showing me bacon cheeseburgers and steaks with loaded baked potatoes today. Why? You never show me this any other time. Yeah, they're harvesting data. They know that you're Catholic. So they decided on Ash Wednesday, we're going to flood every Catholic's feed with food porn and make it hurt. And it's working.
Yep.
Katie said, hey, Brett and Mary, I do pray that you're not too disappointed in me, but I love Bob Dylan. I do think he is a poet and a genius.
Well, look, here's
strong
the
words.
thing.
A genius?
Everybody is allowed to like whatever music that they like. That's the beauty of it. That's fine. It's just, if you're around me, I'm going to need you to turn it off.
Are you willing to say that she's wrong about Bob Dylan?
Well, she gave a subjective analysis. She believes he's a genius. I don't think science will agree with you, but that's
Yeah, I
just
don't think that's an
personal
objective
interpretation.
fact.
That's
but,
okay.
You know,
that's okay.
That's fine. Pat the plumber said, I just got home yesterday and turned on Netflix to find out there's a category called full-on jester maxing. I facepalmed. Wait, can you please enlighten us as to what is in the jester maxing category on Netflix? Like, what qualifies as jester maxing?
Is it just
Isn't all acting jester maxing if you think about it?
It's just
like they're literally society's court jesters.
The Joker. It's the people's Joker.
Or is it just things about clowns? I don't know. That doesn't quite make sense either. So please tell us what you found. High Voltage 75 said, I nominate the Kardashians for the go away list. I agree. I didn't understand for a long time like why they ignited this very specific ire in people. And I don't really feel that strongly about them, positively or negatively, but I do like, I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, what makes these people even slightly interesting?
Yeah.
Like, there is nothing that they do or say or sell
Does
that
it have more to do with
justifies.
like you're connected to the lore? Like, it's only good for people who know the lore and all the ins and outs of who they are.
Yeah, like if you're like faithfully watching the show for like 15 years, then okay, fine. But like most people don't care.
Yep.
So I definitely think they would be worthy contenders for the go away list. Shane H. Wilder said, something I learned from going down a YouTube documentary rabbit hole of cringe from our youth. Zendaya sang Hot and Cold by Katy Perry on Kids Bop 15? That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I mean, everyone gets their start somewhere. Zendaya had a really good single or two when she was like kind of vying for a pop music career. Replay, if you guys haven't heard that song, I would highly recommend it. It's a bop. Corey Anderson said, I would like Harry Sisson to go far away. So maybe we can have a go away list, and then for the worst offenders, we can have the go far away list, and Harry Sisson would be on that one.
One is like in the country, the other one's transatlantic, and like you actually like it's out of this country.
I'm going to be also unbiased and say Kathy Griffin and Roseanne Barr go away.
Okay.
I'm just tired of them. Okay. Both of them. They can go. Pat the plumber said all comedies. What about?
I don't know what he's talking about in relation to there.
Are you just putting movies on the go away list now?
No, it can't be talking about that.
Why would we get rid of all comedies? Comedians, you mean?
Maybe comedians, you mean.
Female comedians can get the F out. There was this tweet from like some influencer. She's like basically an influencer, but she does stand up.
Okay.
She's like on like right-wing Twitter, I guess.
What's her name?
Erin Wexler.
Yeah, I know where she is.
Yeah, she does stand up apparently, and she was complaining about how like, I don't know, like all of these comedy clubs don't want to have conservative comedians or something. Mm-hmm. And then in the tweet, she just has a picture of her on the stage with her microphone. Just a picture. There's no clip of her doing stand-up, just a picture. And everyone was like, this is quite telling if you're only willing to post pictures of your stand-up and not an actual clip. And I went and watched a clip, and guys, it was not good. It was not good. Okay, it's like female comedians are already bad as it is. Stand-up is just not a genre that women tend to excel at. They're way better at satire. But stand-up is not for women usually. And then it was that mixed with like performative edgy stuff that was like, ooh, like a conservative comic would say this is super, you know, whoa, like everybody's scandalized. And like, maybe you're just not getting gigs because you're not that funny, you know? Again, it's like maybe people don't want to date you because you have personality flaws, not because you're conservative. Robert Delera said I put Jimmy Kimmel on the list. If you told him he was on the list, he would probably cry. He was just crying again the other day. What was he even crying about? It was like...
He's always crying.
Was it about Alex Preddy or was it something after that? It was like something totally different. Stephen Colbert is in trouble with his network right now because he
had on some Texas representative, but he wouldn't have on
Yeah.
Jasmine Crockett.
Tellerico or whatever.
And then I guess what happened was like CBS lawyers said, like, if you're going to have him on, you're going to have her on because of the equal time rules or whatever, or, you know, they have to give equal time to opponents or whatever. And then they lied about it, and they were blaming the FCC, but the FCC wasn't involved. It's a whole thing.
So they're framing it as like a censorship issue.
Yes. But it was
in reality it wasn't.
Again, I'm not an authority on this matter, but it was literally from what I was told. So if I'm wrong, don't bring the pitchforks. It was like CBS lawyers told them, like, if you're gonna have him on, you're gonna have Jasmine Crockett on, so they didn't air the segment.
Okay.
And it's being framed as censorship.
Unsurprisingly, it sounds like Stephen Colbert being annoying.
Yes.
In general. Corey Anderson said Elad can go away. He derails more than Ian. I don't really watch IRL, so I wouldn't be able to speak to that.
I would like to have a podcast called Derailed where the entire purpose is to get as far away from the inciting topic as possible.
So
my brain is just such a mess that I would find something unbelievably freeing about having literally no guardrails.
Isn't that just the point of like what Theo Vaughn does or like what Joe
but
Rogan
he does it. It feels like he does it in like a comedic way, where his feels. And again, I don't watch the show live, but you see the clips. It feels like it's supposed to be whiplash in how quickly it gets away from the topic. It's like person says like, oh, like I grew up in Texas. Yeah, that's the thing about snorting cocaine. Like, those have nothing to do with each other, and that always feels like that was the point of it, is like it's whiplash. I would rather, like, when this show is done right, you can, and I struggle at this more than you do. You're very good at staying, on topic. My brain is just very, very haphazard, and my mind tends to go places that don't really always have a lot to do with it. It makes sense in my head, but it doesn't always necessarily make sense in the mind of somebody whose brain works in a more linear fashion. Now, that's a detriment to me, right? That means that if you're not doing your job, you don't keep the topic on task. If the whole point of the show is just to let it go wherever the hell it wanted to, then your audience doesn't have an excuse for being like, well, how did you end up talking about Disney World when the topic was taxes? Like, that's just me, though. That's a pipe dream of mine. Is I would like to be able to just.
You can do that.
Yes.
That'll be a retirement goal.
That's a good idea. I'll end up like Sean Hannity, starting my own podcast after a lifetime of working for a corporation.
Pat the Plumber clarified that the jester maxing genre on Netflix is comedies. So, like, that's like stand-up comedians or.
Maybe it's
what? I guess that makes more sense. Yeah. Pop Culture Junkie said primary source of single women margin story is September 5th, 2019, Liz Wolfe article in Wealth Management from a Morgan Stanley report, Rise of the She-economy. She-economy is a horrible turn of phrase. I hate that, but I'll look into it.
Look, if it's her story, then it's definitely the She-economy.
Yikes. Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, before I forget, Mary, Father Carlos Martins is doing a Lenten retreat series on the Exorcist Files podcast. It started today with Jesus and Pilate. Check it out. It is really good and enlightening. Thank you for the recommendation.
It's always her story or the She-economy. It's never a mistake. It's just...
What?
Never mind.
What does that mean?
It's just a pun. It's fine.
It went over my head. I don't know. Man Bear Cow TV said, imagine sending a white knight across state lines to knock teeth out over online smack talk. LMAO.
Wait, what was that in regards to? Where did this happen?
I have no idea. Is this shade at somebody? I can't tell. Pat the Plumber said, I second Elad going away.
See, but the thing is your attitude towards that is what makes him so invaluable. Is that the wrestling
made you feel something?
Yes, wrestling fans will know it. It's called there's different types of heat. If you're a bad guy, there's the good heat, which is like Dominic Mysterio, where they like to hate you, right?
Mm-hmm.
That can be dicey because sometimes you end up being what's called a tweener, where you're like kind of a bad guy, kind of a good guy, and it's all kind of muddled. But there is what used to be called X-Pac heat, which is not you're a bad guy, everybody hates you, but it's because they just want you to go away. You don't want X-Pac heat. But I don't think Elad has X-Pac heat because in our business that it makes for good sound clips with people fighting each other.
True. Shane H. Wilder said, can we get Tim to give up playing with AI for Lent?
Maybe.
You'll have to take that up with Tim. I think it would be good for him, though.
Easy56789 says, L cope, Brett. What am I? Well, he said Bert, but what am I coping about?
I think they're saying it's about Elad. They're like pushing back on you, saying the analogy that you just employed there.
The people in charge of putting together shows, though, don't necessarily always want a show where everybody circle jerks and agrees and says the same thing. You need somebody who's going to disagree with you.
Yeah, that's fair. I think we're all caught up on.
That's what Ian does so
Superchat.
well. That's what Ian does so well. Ian is very good at derailing, but also at
I don't think he does it on purpose.
No. We got a Rumble rant over here from Broody Gambit. Says, my best friend likes to play this game where he tries to derail my conversation points for as long as possible. The record was 3 days before I brought it back. I don't think he has gotten me to forget.
That's impressive.
That is very impressive. Yeah. Gonna name my show Derailed. That's what it's gonna be called. Derailed.
Hopefully that hasn't been taken yet.
It's all right. All right, guys. Before we go, we do have a 7th Crisis Party that's going to play before the show is over. So
okay, like right now?
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But before we go, guys, would you all please hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here, perhaps if this was your first time watching and you've never watched before, subscribe to the channel right now. We would love you. Thank you. All right. Like I said, guys, hit the like button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. Share the video out with everybody. It helps us out a ton. All right, Mary, let's just make sure that this resets properly. But I think there's going to be another one coming, so you might want to speed run the outro.
Like,
you're good.
You want me to wait?
No, I'm saying I don't want it to interrupt you. So if it does, I apologize. But there's another one coming because that one was manual. But there's another one coming.
It's not a big deal. Yeah. Corey Anderson said, I do not dislike Elad. He just says dumb things. Well, we all do sometimes. Anyway, you guys can send me validation on Instagram. That is Mary Archived. Or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. And help me get TikTok famous. That is also Mary Archived.
Okay, there's a couple more super chats here.
I don't see them on my end yet.
There's one from Pop Culture Junkie. Says, Rise of the She-Com. The Sheconomy, I think he meant. Got it there? There's the next Crisis Party. It says, Rise of the She-Conum. That's
This one isn't even a real party.
No, it is. We're caught up now.
Really?
We had to catch up.
Oh. I'm an idiot. I thought it was a fake.
You have to read the super chat because I have no idea what this is supposed to say. It says, Rise of the She-Conum, free PDF, Morgan Stanley site.
Oh, yeah, that was referring to Morgan Stanley,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah.
Not me. It's just happens to be the same as my last name.
Okay.
Shane H. Wilder said, Elad and Alex Stein just need to stay far away from each other so you don't get Alex screaming that Elad got where he is by redacting Tim.
Yeah.
Sounds like shit got pretty nuts.
Yeah. Luckily for me, I'm never on those shows when it gets real awkward.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Should I don't know. It sounds like kind of entertaining. I might go watch it now that you guys are selling it to me.
Okay. All right, guys, before we go, again, hit the like button on this video. And if you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and on X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is, of course, noon Pacific. So tonight, I am going to be on Vera Dark's channel at 9 p.m. with her in Wicked Virtue. They do a show on Wednesdays called Wicked Virtue. And so she will be on with me on Thursday tomorrow because Mary did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week. You will be back on Monday, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so make sure if you guys want to check out Vera's show, that will be tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, and then tomorrow she will be live with us at 3 p.m. Eastern, and then Colonel Kurtz will be joining me on Friday, so stay tuned for that episode as well. If you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast, we are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you like to listen rather than just watch the show, you can also rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Make sure if you missed the Friday episode or the PCC Weekend Update, those have been re-added to the Spotify section. That was not an issue on my part. I do apologize for that, but if you want to go back and re-listen to them or listen to them for the first time, you can. And then if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Guys, I will see you tonight over on Vera Dark's channel, and we will be back with another episode tomorrow. Later, guys.
Bye.